the guys get together and have coffee, and even those things, and those things are very important to those communities. And so, but I do want to share with you because I'm coming from a district of 900 students. In Bay City schools, I was in charge of public relations. We had 10,000 students in a much bigger town, so I may be oversensitive, and so please accept my apology that I'm oversensitive that I was coming from a small school. No, I was in Bay City School with 10,000 students, and I was in charge of public relations. So I was in the Kiwanis Club. I always had speaking engagements and so on, a lot of dinners. Of course, in Bay City it was a broader scale. It wasn't going down so much to the local coffee shop landscaping place as much as going to the different clubs and organizations. So I do understand that as well. And I see this district as a nice mix. I see this district as a district that probably has a place where the people get together in the morning, have coffee. I wouldn't mind letting the superintendent know what they think. I always think, the last thing before I shut the door, I always say, hey, thanks for the guidance, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for helping me run the district. And they always laugh. So I want to point that out as well.
You may have touched on some of that, but we'll get into some more specifics, okay? In a community like ours, the school is the most important thing we have. And with that comes all the extracurricular activities, and they're important to the entire community, and the athletic activities. So what role would you, as a superintendent, have regarding the events? And if you could give me some examples of how you've supported these programs.
Well, I'm very pleased that since I've been in New Lothrop, our arts have really been developed. Early on, I was in our school play a few times. So that's being involved, I think. I was actually in the play. So, I'm very involved, whether it be the arts, music, drama, certainly athletics are very important. And basically, you have me as a school district. You have me during the week. But I do prioritize my family, and I feel that I know that I'm in a community that would respect that, and my family is very important. However, I will point out that my son's 23. He's a senior at Eastern Michigan. He's a runner, high day. You can see I'm probably coming off high energy. He's just like me, very high energy. And then I have a daughter that attends MSU. I love my children the same. By the way, they're both seniors. She's more like a hippie, pretty laid back, sweet angel. She's a sweet girl. And boy, that's on TV. I don't know. My daughter may be able to see that, but I'm at a point where I can spend a lot of time and devote a lot of time to the job because my kids are going to be hopefully on their own soon. In theory, after college, they should be on their own. So, but I understand that, and I come from a community where that's expected. But the thing about it is, I like it. That's fun for me. I guess I'm not a person that sits. I think you've probably seen that in the first 5 minutes here. I'm not a person that sits in front of the TV. I'd rather be at the game. So I get complimented on that. It's a high score in my evaluation. You can talk to my board members and board presidents. I have letters from them. And you're welcome to call them. It's a high score. And they compliment me on that. And I take the compliment, but in my head, I like it. Why wouldn't I want to be at the basketball game where I watch these kids grow up for 9 years? They're my kids. I know them by name. And the next morning, I stand in the hallway at the high school almost every day without exception. Nice game, Joe. Nice game, Mike. Good job, Betty. And so on. And guess how much that means to those kids and their parents. That I really do care about them like that. So I'm very involved because I like it, but it's a very important part of what we do. By the way, we had the highest graduation rate again in the county. We had 0 dropouts. We believe we had one, but they had 0 dropouts. And over the 4 years, almost 98% graduation. That is not by accident as well. We know our kids. I know the question was involvement. Involvement from your leader is very important. And I don't think those results are accidents.
John, can you give us a situation or example when you weighed the pros and cons of a situation and decided not to take action even though you were under some pressure to do so?
Yes, recently I've had some pressure from community members to release a certain employee, and this employee has things that they can work on. I've been working with this particular employee, and there's been improvement. And there was quite a bit of pressure as I weighed the pros and cons of, moving forward on releasing them or not releasing them, but I decided not to, because it wasn't the right thing. This person was on an improvement plan, they were showing improvement, and it's ended up being the right decision. This person has really come around, and there's a lot of compliments about this person's performance. And there was a lot of pressure. We're a small town, and so there was a lot of pressure. And I sit back. I not only weigh the pros and cons, but I want you to know this about me with my problem solving. I consult with people. I take my time. I really don't shoot from the hip. I don't think I'd be a superintendent going on 10 years if I ever shot from the hip of weighing the pros and cons. So when I'm weighing the pros and cons, I want you to know that I'm seeking advice. I'm looking at data. I'm using information. So on your question, I want you to know I just don't sit there, pros and cons. No, it's pretty systematic of how I approach that. And you know what? When you approach it that way and try to take the emotions out, you betcha. You got to remove the emotions. I've had some very good fortune with my decision making regarding that. You're welcome.
John Chuck Busatell, who are the most important groups of people in the school district, and how would you plan to reach out to them?
That's a trick question, isn't it? The Board of Education. So, no, important, I don't have to yell, do I? My kids go, why are you yelling on the cell phone? Dad? You don't have to yell on that. There's a lot of important groups, and if you care if I use a handout, and I know I can't get that through the TV there, but I want to, if you don't mind, leave you with something, because the decision you're making tonight is for your next leader, for hopefully quite some time. And so I do want to leave you with some information when I provide answers like this. There's a lot of key groups within a community, and I know you can't see that, so I'll read them to you. Certainly the Board of Education is a key group, and I'll skip down. But this is a 100-day plan of once, if and when, I guess I'm being optimistic there, once hired by you as your school leader, even before the start date of July. I believe this is critical, especially with finances and some serious issues that are being dealt with this school and all schools. There's key groups, and the key groups are elected officials, business owners, clergy, key community opinion shapers, and I want to stop on that just for a second. Each community has quiet leaders. Your leaders aren't your ones on the podium. I have learned in life, in my 47 years of living, that you have your quiet leaders. You have your people in each community that when that person talks, you notice everyone listens, that they don't talk all the time. And so that is very specific, that one in there. And that's why I would use your help as a Board of Education, because coming into this community, I know very few people. So I'll rely very heavily upon you, the Board of Education, a person say, hey, who are our quiet leaders? Maybe it's a retired teacher that everyone had. She was a kindergarten teacher and everyone loves her, everyone respects her. Old, Mrs. Jones, everyone listens to Mrs. Jones. Maybe that's one of those leaders. And I would find it within my first 100 days and on a regular basis to meet with that person. Are those people, police and fire personnel, especially in light of the safety issues that, heaven forbid, one of those issues would happen here, but in light of Sandy Hook over a year ago, those are very key officials to meet with right away regarding safety. Chamber officials and civic club officials like the Lions Club. Lions Club is a club I would like to join right away because I'm a Lions Club member in New York. So those are key people that I would reach out to. And also, you can see that I would set up meetings, of course, with the associations and students. Within the first 100 days and on a regular basis, I would actually rotate schools and eat lunch with the students. at least a couple times a week. In the morning, I would be visible at the buses at one of the school buildings, and in the evening, so being very visible and just meeting with a variety of people, I think would be very important.
Thank you, John.
Sorry you cannot see the handout, but that's just a handout.
We'll have an email.
Thank you.
John, do you believe we have, there's a current crisis in school funding? And if you believe there is or isn't, could you give us some suggestions on a resolution?
A resolution. If I have those answers, I probably will be a multi-millionaire very soon, won't I? I did happen to study your budget situation through your budget presentation, and you're, by the way, you're no different than 80% of the schools in our state, unfortunately, and I bet in our country. I can't say that qualified, but I believe in our country that are facing some very financial challenging times. You know, when I look around though in New Lothrop, I'm very careful though, not to say that state of Michigan, they need to give us more money. Because when I look at my neighbors in New Lothrop, they're taking pay cuts. They're losing benefits. They're losing jobs. So I'm very, very, very careful to not say, well, poor me, we need more money in public education. So to answer your question, what have I done for the past, and by the way, our school district we're the only school district in the county, and it's not I, it's been a team effort that has maintained a fund balance of 15 to 20% in my past 10 years. So I just want to qualify my answer. And the answer to that regarding finance is being a very detailed person, understanding your finances and communication of that. You guys do an excellent job communicating that the situation. The answer though, it's going to be a team.
Do you think there is a crisis?
There,
Is it statewide, or do you think it's just some individual school?
I think we have a statewide financial issue. I don't personally call it a crisis, but this is my personality, and you're getting to know me in this 1 hour. I don't call it a crisis. I call it a situation that, let's lay it on, again, I try to separate emotions. I don't want to use the word crisis. I want to say, here's our financial situation. Bring in the associations, bring in like you're doing it. You're doing a good job of it. Bring in the right people at the table and say, we have a situation here. I'm not going to call it a crisis. I'm going to say, we have a situation, here's the facts, and here's what we need to do. So I think we have a statewide problem, but no, I'm not using the word crisis. I think we're very intelligent people, and we can figure it out and sticking together.
Are you involved with your representatives in Lansing, in the
Yeah,
district that you are now?
I actually take pride that one of our local representatives calls me, actually. And the reason why is I treat him with respect. When I talk to him, I'm not always bombarding him. He knows, kind of like that quiet leader. He knows when I call him, it's sincere. It's not just an ongoing complaining or a relentless, we need more, help us out. It's very specific. So I am involved to the point where I take pride that he will actually call me specifically, personally, for advice on different issues at the legislative level.
Thank you.
Speaking of the tough financial times, when making cuts and budget reductions, what are your top 3 priorities and why?
Well, of course, your top priority is students. And with that, I guess, we're coming up with a list here of programs. But really, everything involves students. And so, I actually, my chart that I use, of course, at the core has students. And then you have your staff. That all goes hand in hand with people. They're all part of that. So, like, for the bullet list, to answer your question, it'd be students, programs, and staff. But I know there's staff members sitting behind me, and that's what's so tough about these interviews. I have a 1 hour snapshot of me right now, and so I want them to know that I would work very hard to build a relationship with them. And I take pride in New Lothrop that those they're upset with me sometimes. Of course, the Teachers Association is not always happy with me, but I tell you what, they work together. And at the end of the day, back to your question, at the end of the day, what I have going for me is that they know I love those children. They know that when making tough business decisions, non-emotional, I'm sorry, I'm using my non-emotional, because that was that question, but non-emotional business decisions, they know that I love the children. That takes time to build that relationship with the staff member sitting out there. Because right now, I'm just a guy in a suit, coming in with this nice new tie and giving the bullet point answers. But you know, again, that's why I hope you look hard when I walk out of here in this short time that we have together, that in a small community, actually, they renewed my 3-year contract last night, had a good evaluation and a great relationship with that board. I couldn't get away with just saying it and not doing it. I would be called out on that in 10 years if I just said the right bullet point answers and didn't do it. So, children first, and staff, and community, of course, all together.
How would you go about introducing yourself to our community and staying in touch with community members and maintaining visibility in the district?
And the 100-day plan has a lot of that on there, and so, and I won't rehash all that, but just to expand, if I may.
Right.
There's no secrets to success like that, and I know I'm preaching to the choir. You're successful, I understand that. That it's hard work. You get off your rear end and you get out there and